Go to our ring announcer, Dan Bogan, for the official introduction.
I'd like to remind everyone one more time, these bouts are approved and sanctioned by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission. The executive director is the Honorable Greg Serb. Our commissioner at ringside, Ron Rosatano. Our inspector is John Capuello. Your judges this evening, Philip Rogers, Todd Krushka, and Cleveland Kevin Armstrong. Your referee for each and every event, doing an outstanding job, as always, Mr. Chip Snyder. Our timekeeper at the bell, the birthday boy, Stephen the Hammer Cruz. Our physician at ringside, Dr. Lawrence Biskin. One last time, I'm your ring announcer, Dan Bogan. We want to thank our ring girls, the lovely Brittany, Lauren, and Jamie. Pittsburgh, are you ready? This is our main event of the evening in the Gladiators of the Cage professional featherweight division, calling for 3 5-minute rounds. First, fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at 141 pounds. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, a 72-inch reach. He has an 8-4 record, 26 years of age. He fights for Team G-Force and Reed Academy from Cincinnati by way of Davenport, Iowa. Chris Kid Dynamite Dunn. Where'd he go? And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 140 pounds, stands 5 feet 6 1/2 inches tall, 27 years of age. A record, 3 wins, 1 loss. Representing the Mat Factory. From Lower Borough, Pennsylvania, it's Dominic, the Honey Badger Mazzotta. Let's go to our referee, Chip Snyder, for the final introductions.
Okay, gentlemen, you guys are the main event. We went over the rules in the back. I expect you to obey them and have a clean, fair fight. Any questions, red? Any questions, blue? Touch gloves, go back to your corners.
Brand, I'm not sure I've ever heard of Novation that loud at Gladiators of the Cage.
Wow, I actually had to just take my headset off because the crowd is so loud here at Stage AE tonight. Our main event of the evening, Mazzotta, Dunn, 135 pounds, let's go. Chris Dunn is stalking early, putting Mazzotta's back to the fence, taking center cage with big punches, oh my.
Mazzotta staying light on his feet, not engaging too much yet. You know, it's like he's not worried if he goes to the ground because his ground game is so strong.
And look at these crazy kicks by Mazzotta. That's the Taekwondo.
Now he's going to try to show some of that Mat Factory wrestling.
Chris Dunn doing a good job of pushing Mazzotta's hips down up against the cage here.
Good over and underhook, Mazzotta taking his time, breathing, relaxing. Both guys staying really, really cool in this position.
Dunn in wrestling what we would call driving the hips.
Yeah.
Steering his opponent's hips so that he cannot get any space between his legs and the ground. Big shot to the body by Dunn.
Mazzotta, nice takedown by Mazzotta, and he needs to keep him up against that fence. He needs to pull him actually away, let him not get his feet up against that fence and push off.
Dunn with a warning for grabbing the cage.
Yeah, Chip Snyder won't take much of that.
Not mid-takedown, I don't believe.
No. You can definitely tell that Dunn does not want to be here with Mazzotta. I just don't feel this is the game plan, but he's staying very active, keeping a closed guard, trying to keep it tight. Doesn't look like he's going for any offensive submissions here, just holding on, hoping for a stand-up. Mazzotta's got to keep the pressure on it and win this round.
Absolutely. I love that Mazzotta's got his hips high and he's got double underhooks with Dunn's head up against the fence. All he needs to do is push in and make sure his hips stay higher than Dunn's, and he should be able to throw that ground and pound.
Yeah, heavy leather, big right hand and elbow by Mazzotta.
The Honey Badger.
I don't know why Dunn is there. That's what I want to see. Dunn get his feet up against that cage and reverse.
There it is.
But look at Mazzotta using his head, extending his own right leg out and holding the cage. Good job there. Dunn, nice job of passing by Mazzotta.
I see Mazzotta's his ground and pound here, but I'm not sure if that's going to be it just yet. Dunn is a tough guy.
Yeah, he's looking for a head and arm choke, but Dunn's really, really savvy to that. Now he's going to a north-south. Mazzotta loves to work the far side arm on this and spin over with an arm lock. He's very crafty on the far side arm. Watch for it. Now he's got the head. Could the night of the chokes continue, Grant?
Could it be another arm-in guillotine
Oh, that would
for
be
another
crazy.
Pittsburgh fighter?
That'd be crazy. And there it is. He's going to class.
He's isolated the neck. Will
This
he fall to guard?
Oh, good. He dropped it. He let it go. He didn't feel he had it, and he went for the takedown. He's going for a strong single. Drags him away from the cage. Look how
Good
quick he takes
decision
this back.
making by Mazzotta. Beautiful takedown.
Wow, this crowd is erupting. Mazzotta's in full mount now. Dunn has to be careful here.
Mazzotta on Dunn's back, ready to work with 2 minutes left in the round.
He's got both hooks in, and he's got the
It
choke.
might be the night of the chokes for Mazzotta
Dunn's
as well.
looking to fight. Mazzotta's got it deep. Grant, it could be it.
And can he do it?
Oh,
And is Dunn gonna turn out?
oh,
He is
got
out.
out. What heart by Dunn. And now he's looking to reverse.
And they're
he
back
does.
up.
Wow, what a reversal. Now
My
Mazzotta's
goodness.
on his back.
Chris Dunn just escaped death.
Talk about heart, Grant.
That was the closest I've seen anyone tonight get to being choked out and continue to push through. Dunn now on top, looking to feed Mazzotta some ground and pound of his own.
Not many people can say they escaped Mazzotta's rear naked choke like that. And now Dunn throwing a couple punches. Mazzotta back to his feet, throws a kick with bad
Lazy kick by
intentions.
Mazzotta. Lazy kick by Mazzotta. I
He
want to
didn't
know
get
if
his
he's
hips behind
gassed.
it.
Dunn needs to pounce on this opportunity. If he has any inclination right now that Mazzotta's out of breath or tired or flustered, he needs to move.
I can hear the corner all the way over here on Mazzotta telling him to breathe. I think he held his breath on that choke and spent a lot of energy. The problem is when you have a submission that tight and you miss it, Grant, how much energy do you lose?
My goodness, especially whenever you're almost certain your opponent is about to tap out. You will put every last ounce of your energy into finishing that choke.
Well, not only that, you have a couple thousand of your friends and family in the crowd also screaming for you. You tense up that much more.
Absolutely.
Look at Dunn.
Mazzotta's legs look tired, and kicking is his bread and butter on the stand-up game. I have to know how this is going to affect him.
Good inside leg kick by Dunn.
Dunn needs to work those legs to Mazzotta. I'm telling you, he needs to kick him in the legs.
He needs to finish strong. He needs to back Mazzotta up and make every good intention to get it late. No, nice spinning back kick.
What a first round. Dominic Mazzotta, in my opinion, took that round with a submission attempt, but both fighters are showing true heart and class.
Well, now, here's the question. If you're Dunn, do you feel that much better that you escaped that, or are you now that much more afraid to get caught in that position with Mazzotta? Is it a positive or is it a negative thing here, Grant, if you're Dunn?
That's a 50-50 question right there, Charlie. Gladiators of the Cage would like to give a quick shout out to the Cadillac Ranch in Robinson. Thank you, Cadillac Ranch, for streaming these fights live, and I hope you all are having a very good time tonight.
I bet that house is going crazy also.
I wish I could be there. Luckily, I am right where I am.
You get to be with me, Grant.
I do get to be with you, Charlie. No place I'd rather be during this fight.
You know what? Both of these guys, I think, spent a lot of energy, a lot more than they expected in that first round. Mazzotta was breathing really heavy in his corner. His corner was trying to get his breathing back under control. And Mazzotta's been here before.
Round two, Chris Dunn. Dominic Mazzotta. At Gladiators of the Cage, the road to glory. North Shore rise to power 6.
Dunn's leaving his hands very low, showing very little respect for Mazzotta's hands.
I think that Dunn recognized toward the end of that first round that Mazzotta was having a hard time catching his breath back up.
Yeah, but why all the feints? There you go. Let's throw the 1, 2, 3. Put the heat on Mazzotta. Don't back up for Mazzotta. Back Mazzotta up.
Mazzotta threw a
clips him.
big right.
Once again, that goes back to keeping your hands down. You cannot get too cocky against any of these fighters. You know what? Mazzotta looks like he's got double underhooks. Maybe Dunn's got one in, but he's going to get drugged to the ground if he doesn't get those underhooks and switch his hips up against that fence. Dunn needs to turn his hips and circle away. Start pushing Mazzotta back up against the cage. Good job of separation by Dunn. That's what he needed to do, circle out.
Dunn dropping his hands and walking away from Mazzotta again in a show of disrespect.
I don't know how much favor that's going to win you in the judges' eyes either, though, Grant.
It looks like Dunn is just trying to confuse Mazzotta. With Mazzotta being such a counter striker, he really wouldn't have anything to go off of with Dunn
Nice
having
kick.
this awkward style.
Yeah. Good kick by Mazzotta to let him know, hey, I'm still here.
Dangerously close to the chin of Mazzotta was that kick by Dunn.
Now, Mazzotta's doing a good job of keeping his distance with a rangier fighter. I'm not sure what Dunn is doing here, backing up, keeping his hands low. He's got to push this pace. This is the hometown of the Honey Badger. He's got to show these judges, if this goes to decision, I earned this victory.
I couldn't agree with you more. This is something that we see so often in MMA and in these Pittsburgh cage fights and anywhere around here is a lot of fighters will come from out of town and they don't realize that a lot of time there is a home field advantage. You have to show up and you have to win that fight.
Mazzotta's got a strong single. He's working to take it down, and
wow,
it's almost like he ran out of gas on that.
huge energy expenditure there by Mazzotta on a failed takedown attempt. Dunn is still looking fresh. Dunn with a good feinting and head movement with his hands down. I mean, that's something you have to do is move your head if you're going to fight with that kind of a style.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's not kind of Roy Jones it in, though, and throwing that big overhand with it. You know, let's follow in with that. If you got your head down there, well, there's what I want to see.
Wow.
Good.
Big, beautiful takedown by Dunn. Not what we expected to happen right now.
Very interesting. Did you see how quick Mazzotta got him? Look at
Wow.
this. Look at this scramble. Now Mazzotta lands in side control.
That was amazing.
I do not want Mazzotta in side control on me, Grant.
I'm watching Dunn's right hand.
Mazzotta loves to go across and work on that far arm, and he's already working towards it. Dunn, a great job of exploding the hips and getting up, and now they exchange. Dunn pushes him away and says, let's start over.
I've got to say, Charlie, I'm really impressed by Chris Dunn's explosive movements and his ability to get back up from Mazzotta's takedowns.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to get up as soon as he can. He's not just laying there and letting Mazzotta implement his game plan. He's getting back up. The longer you lay in wait, the longer you give the other guy to implement his game plan. Good knee by Dunn, followed up by a 1-2-3 combination. He's back Mazzotta up. Why not keep backing him up against that cage, though? Don't give him room. He's letting Mazzotta regroup, and it looks like Mazzotta just took another huge breath, Grant.
Deep breath. Mazzotta's footsteps are kind of herky-jerky right now.
Notice Mazzotta is circling now into the power of Dunn. He is circling the wrong way.
That is bad.
Dunn's got to realize that and load up on that right. Mazzotta is circling wrong.
I have to say, I think Dominic Mazzotta may have done himself a disservice in that first round by really committing to that rear naked choke so hard.
He thought he had it. I thought he had it, honestly, Grant.
I was getting ready to call it. But Chris Dunn is a tough guy. He's a tough veteran, and he's back in the fight. Round 2, 45 seconds left.
Not only was he holding his breath on that, a couple thousand fans here were holding their breath. I know I was.
Absolutely.
You know, Dunn keeps dropping his hands. Push the pace. If you don't like the way your fighter's coming at you, come at him.
Although I could see from a tactical point of view how Chris Dunn's corner may want him to drag Mazzotta into that third round and see how well he's really moving.
Yeah, but you know what? Mazzotta's already making some key mistakes. Circling wrong, he's dropping his head low, he's ducking right into a front kick. You know, I'm not sure why this fancy stuff with these spinning back kicks up against the cage. You know, once again, this is Mazzotta's home turf. You gotta bring the fight to him. Not much on that kick, more of a slap than anything.
I've got to give that round to Dunn, if I'm being honest. The cage control was superior.
Would it be safe to say, Grant, that there's a good chance that this is one round apiece?
I would say that it's one round apiece. Dominic Mazzotta had a beautiful submission attempt, good takedown in the first round, but we saw Chris Dunn get, I believe, 2 takedowns in that second round, and a lot of good striking out of it. This is going to be a make it or break it third round.
Yeah.
Mazzotta is looking seriously exhausted.
See his corner man Isaac in there talking with him. One of the head trainers at the Mat Factory does a great job preparing these guys for wrestling. You're seeing kind of a different contrast here on the other side. Doesn't look like Dunn is breathing as deep. You know,
I don't know if you can chalk this up to being cage rust. I don't think it's been that long since Mazzotta's been in the cage.
well, you know something very interesting also on Dunn. Every fight he has won, it's been by a finish. 3 by TKO, 3 by submission.
Let's see if he can pull out another one here tonight. Round 3, Chris Dunn, Dominic Mazzotta, 135 pounds at Gladiators of the Cage, North Shore, rise to power 6.
There's something else very interesting, Grant. Chris Dunn lost. He lost in his career to Francis Healy.
He did.
Who's a training partner of
The Honey Badger.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Great takedown, powerful double leg. Good job at Dunn turning his hips and getting up. Dunn showing he has a wrestling background also. Mazzotta really wants this takedown, and he's really fighting for it. Good job. He's got to drive on this.
There are some acrobatics happening in the cage between these two fighters here tonight.
Would it be safe to say that Mazzotta's corner told him he needs to win this round?
I would say that that would be something that both of their corners should have been letting them know.
Yeah, definitely, Grant.
Dunn working for that single with Mazzotta pressed up against the fence. Not a whole lot happening here. This is a very close third round, and I would be looking for Chip Snyder to separate these fighters if there's not a whole lot of action.
Mazzotto's looking for that head again. Boy, he's really holding on, spending a lot of energy holding on to that, Grant. I'd kind of like to see Dunn just grab hold of that leg and just strip it, rip it straight back if he's going to go for that takedown.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's tight.
Wow.
That's tight. Can he get a standing guillotine? Oh, good job at Dunn giving it up to get out. He spun out of it like you're supposed to, but he put himself in a terrible position here. Get the Honey Badger holding the right arm of Dunn again. He loves to go for that far arm on a spinning arm bar. And he's looking again for a Darce choke from the feet. Spending a ton of energy. Dunn separates. Dunn has to work this last 3.5 minutes of this fight because I believe Mazzotta has really poured it on to the judges here in the first minute and a half.
I got to say, though, look at Mazzotta's knees as he takes steps. Watch how his knees lackadaisically lock out. That's a sign that his legs are very, very tired.
Yes, it is.
He's stepping flat-footed. His knees are locking out every time he takes a step. His thighs must be very burnt right now.
And that's why I'm Dunn's corner. I'm telling him, push the pace. 1, 2, 3 combinations.
Dunn has him right where he wants him to.
He has to
Mazzotta's
finish.
circling toward his right. Mazzotta's back's on the fence. Dunn's throwing high kicks.
Yeah, he's got to push this forward. Even a front kick at this point, not a spinning back kick, a front kick. Nice.
Chris Dunn needs to start giving up some 3 and 4 punch combinations
He has
right about
to.
now.
He has to do that. He has to push the pace. He has to show the judges this is his fight. Even though Mazzotta's exhausted and his punches are kind of getting sloppy, he is throwing punches and landing more.
Chris Dunn, I have to say, has been controlling center cage this entire round.
Well, he has, and that's going to be interesting also. How do the judges look at that? He has cage control.
I really think Dunn needs to think about going body, head, head, body.
Well, and there's a combination, but he's not stepping into them. Mazzotta is still circling into the power of Dunn, and we haven't seen Dunn throw one overhand right yet. What is going on, Grant?
I would say Dunn needs to really step in there and give him a nice right hook.
Dunn keeps calling him on, but he's got to push the pace. He's up against the cage. You have to push your opponent. Mazzotta is diving in, and he's just lunging for things now. But it's gaining points because he is engaging the fight.
I mean, I have to wonder if Chris Dunn is possibly as exhausted as Dominic Mazzotta. He's just not showing it, or, I mean, maybe he's still intimidated and doesn't realize what an opportunity.
I really don't know. It's very odd to me. Now he's got a good underhook. He can drag this off. Mazzotta switching to a single. Dunn should be able to fight out of this if he keeps his leg to the outside. And oh, good takedown. I think Dunn was trying for an armbar there, and Mazzotta's really crafty. Slipped right out of that. Plus the sweat's a factor now, Grant.
Absolutely. Sweat is a huge factor in this third round, looking for submissions for either fighter.
Dunn's got to get his feet to the cage, do exactly that. Push off, create space between the hips of his opponent and himself. Get away. On the other side of that, Mazzotta has got to turn his opponent towards the center of the cage and get him away so he can't reach that fence, or push him up against it and start raining the pain.
I've got to say, Mazzotta is doing what he needs to do right now.
He's got to keep the pressure on him.
This is a very close fight. 45 seconds left on our clock.
Dunn has to turn on a hip here. He needs to turn, roll on his right hip and get his butt up against the cage. Butt up, there it is, butt up against the cage. Post his right hand. That's what Dunn needs to do, and start getting up.
Dunn nearly giving up his back to Dominic, the Honey Badger Mazzotta.
Oh, good job of Mazzotta by stuffing a takedown, man. Shows that he's put a lot of hours in with the Mat Factory.
20 seconds left on our clock.
Dunn's got to go for it. He's got to go for it.
15.
A lot of flash, but very little impact on that throwing, flying knee kick combination.
Dunn is looking very slow. Both fighters exhausted. 3 very active 5-minute rounds.
Wow.
And it is over. I do not envy the job of the judges tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 of them go to a split. I don't know. It may be a split decision.
I could see, I mean, I could honestly see a few different scenarios playing out here right now, all of which would be justifiable from the last 15 minutes of fighting we just saw.
Yeah, I don't know if we get a chance here to see the replay. You know, it's going to be interesting. Man, you know, we're calling it as commentators. The judges are watching it as people scoring it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, what seems to be a real highlight key moment in the match, that's one moment. The judges are looking at 5 minutes of every round, Grant, and they're doing that for 15 minutes. When we're watching a fight, 1 or 2 key things stick out in our mind, and that's the element we're basing the fight on, but the judges aren't doing that.
Absolutely. The judge's job is to judge each round as an individual entity.
Right.
They cannot look at the fight from the beginning to the end and say, this guy did good, this guy did good, this guy wins. That's not the way it works. One man can win 2 rounds, and he wins the fight.
Right.
It doesn't matter how bad that 1 round that he lost was, it still is going to have to go that way.
Right, it's a 10-9 scoring system. You can score at 10-8, but I didn't see 1 round in there that was a 10-8 round.
No.
So it's looking like it's going to be 10-9 rounds. But is 2 going to go to Dunn, or is 2 going to go to the Honey Badger?
It's going to be a really tough call. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be talking here for a minute, waiting for the judges to tally up their scores.
Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time, I think, because, man, what a close fight. I don't know how to call it. I'm glad I'm not the judge. I'm glad I'm the commentator, because I got to sit here as a fan and watch it and call it to everyone on live on pay-per-view and not have to judge it.
Very exciting fight nonetheless. As a fan, all the fans won here tonight. We got to see an amazing fight between our pro fighters, especially Dominic Mazzotta and Chris Dunn. I mean, Mazzotta almost had that choke in the first, and the roof was about to collapse on this building.
I thought that was going to be it. And, you know, there's so many chokes tonight and submissions, but even still, even when Mazzotta raises his hands, he has a couple thousand people just screaming for him.
Absolutely.
Everyone loves this guy. Everywhere he goes, he draws all the attention. And he's hard not to like. What a likable guy, what a likable personality. I'm glad I got to spend some time with Chris Dunn today, because he's a class act, also hard-working, humble young man. I wouldn't be disappointed to see either man walk away with a victory. I'd be disappointed, though, for the guy losing.
Absolutely. Both fighters know in their hearts that they went out there and gave it all they had tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dan Bogan, our ring announcer, for our official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are Gladiators of the Cage. Let's hear it for both of them. That was a hell of a fight. Both fighters. Our next event will be on October the 11th. Like us on Facebook at Gladiators of the Cage, or our website, GOTC MMA. Follow us. We hope you enjoyed yourself this evening at Gladiators of the Cage. Now, to the official scorecard, we have a split decision. Judge Rogers scores it 28-29 Dunn. Judge Krushka scores it 30-27 Mazzotta. And Judge Armstrong scores it 30-27. For your winner, by split decision, fighting out of the blue corner, Dominic the Honey Badger